Hey guys, so yeah, I didn't eat for 10 days. I broke my fast and I was just consuming water entirely for 10 days. And on day 11, I broke it with a small glass of OJ. And I'll tell you right now, honestly, it's probably the best thing I've done in my life for myself and my health. In this video, I just want to share, well, I want to share a few things. I want to share one, why I decided to fast beyond just that it was for health reasons, but why I think fasting is the most phenomenally underrated healing tool, if not the only proper healing tool that we have access to. Number two, I'm going to share my experience, what it was like. Obviously, well, not obviously, but I've never done that before in my entire life, so it was a new experience for sure. And lastly, I want to share my results, which I will spoil for you now because we're all incredibly impatient on YouTube. Have been incredible. I mean, I'm not physically a representation of massive health just yet, but I can definitely say my digestion and what I've been suffering through for the last almost a decade improved drastically, which is pretty dope. I'm gonna try and keep this video. Hey, buddy, Rumi's here. Say hi to Rumi. Oh, hey. I'm going to try and keep this video relatively concise because I'm actually planning my next fast right now, because the main problem I'll say right now with this fast that I did is that it wasn't long enough. 10 days is not really actually that long. In fact, my new mantra is becoming anything under 40 days is child's play. But let's get into it. I'll start by sharing why I decided to fast. I won't go too much into detail on like my symptoms and what I've been experiencing. There's other videos I've put out on that. I want this to be mostly about my fast, but I've been eating like a harvest hand for years now, 2 or 3 years that I've felt really ill, and I'm still as skinny as any person could be. Obviously, my body's not digesting stuff, and so, well, it started with this book. A dude I follow on Instagram, and he's now a friend of mine here in Bali, Jeff, he went to fast at Tanglewood, and he recommended reading this book, The Science and Fine Arts of Fasting by Herbert Shelton. I'm not sure when he lived, but he fasted a couple thousand people, and there's all these amazing testimonials of people recovering from insanely debilitating conditions. And to be honest, it just made sense. Our bodies are healing machines as long as you give them the resources to, and to stop digesting and just lay down and fast allows your body to like do the spring cleaning that it's been dying to do forever. Let me read you this quote from the book that I really like. It goes like this: "But it is usually objected that the weak should not fast. Here again, we are met with the contention that these weak individuals need to be nourished, that they require to be built up. The fact that these people have grown weak while overeating on plenty of good, nourishing food is completely overlooked. If food builds and maintains strength, how do the well-fed become weak?" And there's a lot of, I highly recommend this book if you're interested in fasting and healing from whatever it is you're experiencing. You're probably experiencing something, that's why you're watching this video. Yeah, I decided to do this fast because I've been on restrictive diets for years, and I think restrictive diets can be very helpful for people depending on what you're experiencing, whether it's gut related or anything else in your body. But the reason that restrictive diets I think are helpful is purely because they approach a fast. Like if you're juice feasting or just having fruit or doing raw till 4, like that's all making your body have an easier time digesting, which is literally just approaching a fast. But why not go right to the source? So when you fast, it gives your body, because you spend a lot of energy digesting. And so when you remove digestion, your body just takes nutrition from its cells. Obviously, you get skinnier, but in the same way, if you broke your arm, you put it in a cast, you don't need to do anything. Like here's an example I like to say, like if you break your arm, what's the best food you can eat to heal it? There is none. If you break your arm, what's the best cream you can rub on it to heal it? There is none. Like we try and, what's the word? What is the word? Micromanage our healing by saying, oh, I need to have a little bit of that and a little bit of that. But in reality, I think most people suffer because their body just is injured and needs proper healing. And fasting isn't per se a cure, as it just allows the body to heal itself. Like, for example, If you have, your body's always trying to heal itself. You can't stop it. If you have a cut on your arm, it doesn't matter if you think about it or not, it doesn't matter what you do, it'll just slowly heal. But here's an example. Let's say there's a cut on your arm and every day you're rubbing sandpaper on it and it doesn't heal. When the day you stop rubbing sandpaper on it, does that, like, would you say stopping rubbing sandpaper on it is healing your arm? No. You just say that you're now giving your body an environment where it can actually heal. And I believe that's what fasting does. So that's why I fasted, because I've been suffering for 5 or 6 years with diarrhea. And then when I went on restrictive diets, it's helped me not have the symptoms, the runs anymore. But I've never felt like anything's properly healed, because when I do have a meal that's a bit outside of the most clean diet you can imagine, my body can't handle it. So it just goes to show I was mitigating the symptoms, but it wasn't really healing. I might have, all right, I would say in my 10-day fast, I healed more than I have in literal years of restrictive eating, in entire months of eating mono fruit meals, of, all these things I've done. It's just fasting, baby. So decided to do it. So my experience. Honestly, guys, this might surprise you, but are we recording? Just want to make sure. Yeah, we are. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Obviously, like, knowledge is power. If you go in thinking it's going to be brutal, it will. And reading this book, Science and Fine Arts of Fasting, gave me a lot of reassurance that my experience could be actually really lovely. So yeah, I guess going through, it was the hardest thing about the entire fast was boredom, because when you're fasting, you become, at least in my short experience here, I became very relaxed and present, and you obviously don't want to be doing things to stimulate your body, so you kind of really don't do much. You just want to reserve, especially if you're already skinny like I was, you want to reserve as much as of your body mass, because that is your energy and you're not putting any more in. So I just laid in my bed in a tent back in Canada all day and listened to audiobooks, read a bit. Honestly, I did a bit more than I should have, I think. But yeah, the hardest thing was boredom, because I was just so present and so in tune with the now, the moment. But I did experience some symptoms. So I would say day 1 and 2, honestly, it just goes to show how much my body wanted to fast. And it's wanted to fast every day for the last many years, I feel like, because every morning when I wake up, my body just says, Aaron, don't get out of bed. We're exhausted. Just lay down and heal. And I always say, sorry, body, I got shit to do. And I pile a bunch of food in my body that my body has a terrible time digesting. And so on that morning that I woke up and fasted, and I guess I knew this because I fasted 1 and 2 days various times in the past as well. By like noon, my body's like, oh, we're not eating, we're fasting. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for finally doing this. And I would say I had a little bit of hunger pangs, a tiny bit for day 1 and 2. But I also was just so relaxed, and I slept a lot. I even napped. My body was like, finally, Aaron, you're giving us this opportunity to heal. I mean, back on why fasting I think is incredible. Maybe you might have a harder time understanding why you could heal diabetes or your heart condition through fasting, even though I think it makes a lot of sense. But if anything made sense, it would make sense that you can heal digestive issues, because that's what you're literally refraining from utilizing for whatever 5 to 40 days, however you're fasting. So yeah, by day 3, around midday, I had zero appetite anymore, and I was completely comfortable. My energy kind of like was going down after day 1, and by day 2, it was like rock bottom. And I would say this is what's interesting. Technically day 3 is when hunger was completely gone. So let's say from day 3 to day 11, there was literally no change in my overall physical well-being. My energy levels were, rock bottom the entire time, because my body just knew it wanted to reserve its energy for healing. And there was no noticeable thing. The only symptoms, kind of weird symptoms I experienced were on day 4 and 5, I woke up at like 6:30 in the morning and had like a tiny bellyache for like 2 minutes, and then it went away. On day 5, I felt a bit nauseous when I got up to like brush my teeth, dump out my bottle of pee, fill up my water, you know, kind of that morning. You just have to do I had to do a couple things every morning. And I felt nauseous that one morning. That was day 5, and that was the last time I felt any weird symptom. Day 6 through 11 was fine. Oh, that's not true. I did experience one weird thing, and this is stuff that like you can't possibly, I don't know. I don't think you can really analyze it that much. You kind of just have to accept that the body's doing what it wants to do. But my right eye was kind of sore intermittently from day like 4 to 11. Every couple days it would just be sore. It felt kind of like it was dry. No idea what that means. It wasn't painful. It felt fine when it was closed. I was reading a lot. Maybe that, I got this book. I read the chapters I needed to on like certain things I wanted to know before the fast. And then I just read the whole book while I was fasting because I knew I'd have the time. And it's a pretty hefty book. Also, it's really inspiring when you're on day 7 and you're reading like, yeah, this incredibly emaciated, skinny dude came in and fasted for 35 days. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's some perspective. Hold on. Let me just check my notes. Yeah, sore eye. And that was all my symptoms. Otherwise, I just laid there. And as long as I wasn't, because when I got up, I would feel kind of lightheaded and quite weak. As long as I laid there and did nothing, I felt perfect. I felt completely relaxed. And this is interesting because considering that I've been so weak and considerably ill for the last 2 or 3 years, I would have thought I might have experienced more detoxification symptoms. But I think I didn't because, I don't know, this is just purely intuition, but I don't feel like my body, I mean, we all need to detoxify because we're living in a pretty toxic environment, some of us more than others, but I feel like I'm not ill because my body needs to detoxify from years and years of bad choices. It's mostly actually just injury inside my body, if that makes sense. Like within my gut, when I got a couple, intramuscular needle implants back in the day, it tore apart my gut. I went to Thailand. It's like, I don't feel like it's detoxifying stuff. It's just healing whatever injury is present that's been preventing my body from digesting food properly. Anyways, that was my experience. I laid in a tent beside my house in Canada. Maybe I can bring up some videos of this. Got really skinny. I went from 121 pounds when I started, which is already like probably 25 to 30 pounds underweight for me, despite the fact that I was eating more than I've ever eaten in my life. And I went down to about 108 pounds. So I lost 12 or 13 pounds, and that's like 55 kilos down to 49 kilos. But yeah, so I lost like 12 or 13 pounds over the course of 10 or 11 days. Usually it's standard to lose about a pound a day, but that's more consistent the longer you fast, because usually you'll lose a bit more at the start and less at the end. Also because your body, you have like pounds and pounds of food in your gut that is eliminated as well because you're not putting more in. So that brings me to the end of my fast. On day 11, I felt the same as I did on day 3. I felt absolutely fine, and there was no reason I needed to break my fast. The only reason I did is because I was flying. I'm here in Bali now, and I was flying here to Indonesia like in 2 or 3 weeks, and I just wanted enough time to build up my strength, and I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to fast when I'm here because I have a dog and a cat, and life was going to get a bit hectic. So that's why I broke my fast early. It's funny though, because nothing aligned for it to be broken. Like for example, my cousin was going to go to the store and get me a bunch of oranges so I could juice oranges and break my fast, because you need to be careful when you break a fast, although 10 days is not so long, so it's not a big deal. But he wasn't able to do it. Like all signs pointed to like, Aaron, just keep fasting. You're so comfortable. Your body's doing incredible stuff and nothing's aligning for you to break it. But I was stubborn. And this is what's interesting. That day, I literally caught the bus for 20 minutes to a store in town, bought a bunch of oranges, caught the bus and, walking here and there to get all the stuff, went back to the bus, got on the wrong bus and had to walk. Overall, in this day, I walked about 2.5K dragging my cart of oranges back to the house. And then I juiced it. I did all this stuff. And it just goes to show and I didn't feel like that weak when I was doing it. Even though I was already 13 pounds underweight, and already 25 pounds under my normal weight. It just goes to show how much reserves my body had left. But yeah, timing wise, I had to break it. Also, one of my family members wasn't incredibly supportive. I mean, she just wanted my best interest, but she was so concerned that she was angry at me and wouldn't listen to my reason from, obviously I know a lot more about it, but I get it. Fasting is a weird thing that most people don't understand. And if you're already 25 pounds underweight, it's pretty natural that someone would say, why the hell are you fasting? You need to eat more food. Despite the fact that good, nourishing food hasn't been helping me for the last 3 years. But anyways, that's besides the point. Yeah, so that was my experience. And that glass of orange juice was the best glass of orange juice. I mean, fresh squeezed orange juice, come on. Like, that's good stuff. And then you haven't eaten for 10 or 11 days. Other kind of interesting things I experienced. Okay, so I guess we're going to move on to my results. So my results have been both intensely amazing, but also relatively small. And I think it's just kind of in conjunction to how long I fasted for. So it took me about a month to get back to my usual weight. I was gaining weight slowly. It took me a week or two to even have any appetite, which to me is a signal that my body was saying, Aaron, like, you broke this fast too soon. We're still so stoked on this house cleaning, this repairing that we're doing in your gut. Why'd you do that? Like I said, though, I did, whatever. And after a month, I have stopped at about 55 kilos, 121, 122 pounds, which goes to show my body isn't ready to keep putting on weight yet. But here's the thing. So physically, it's hard for me to say if I feel any better. I'm back in Bali with my animals, a lot of it's mental. I think I might feel a shred more energetic and more lively. Again, maybe I do feel it, and it came on slowly, so I didn't notice. But my digestion has improved. In the past, if I was eating fruit, raw till 4, potatoes for dinner, I could have a solid poop, that's fine. But when I ate something a little more extraneous, I'd just have the runs again. If I went out for sushi with my friends or something, something, it's not a crazy Mexican spicy fiesta. It's just a different meal with a bit more variety of ingredients. I would just have diarrhea again. Well, now that's not the case. I still eat a pretty basic diet, but when I go out and have something a bit more interesting, I still have a solid poop, which is incredible. I can't describe how good that feels. Well, I can try and describe it. It feels good. And it makes sense that I'm not Mr. Healthy just yet, considering that it took about 6 or 7 years for diarrhea to actually, because I lived normally for 6 or 7 years despite having diarrhea, and then it took 6 or 7 years to actually break down my body and have me go, oh shit, I'm worn out from this. It makes sense that now that my gut's improving, it's gonna take time for my body to bounce back because there's that delay. Hey guys, I'm just editing the video right now and I realized I forgot to say something that's pretty important, and that's that while the results I've experienced from this fast have been incredible, I'm still not where I need to be yet. My gut is better, but it still is tender and weak if I do go a bit too extreme on certain foods and whatnot. I still have an insatiable appetite, which is something I've been really struggling with the past few years, in that I can eat and eat and eat and eat, and I never feel full because my body's not actually getting what I'm eating, and that still is the case. So while I've noticed that a subtle but definitely present change in my gut and its ability to digest things more effectively when I go a little bit, outside of the boundaries of perfect clean eating, I still feel like I have a long way to go, or not a long way, but a way to go. But so yeah, that's been incredible, and I can only imagine how much more healing could have happened if I'd gone longer, which is why I'm planning a longer fast right now. Other just interesting things I experienced results-wise were I had a sore tooth. I think the enamel was weak. The dentist kind of wasn't really sure what was wrong with it, but I couldn't chew on this side of my mouth. After the fast, if I bite down on a nut right on it, it still hurts a bit, but it improved intensely. Also, kind of just an interesting thing, while I was fasting, I played a bit of chess online, If you see my other videos, you'll know I'm a chess nerd. And in blitz chess, which is like fast-paced chess, my rating went up tons. Like I had way more clarity and focus when I was playing, which I think isn't news. Like people know that when you fast, you kind of bring up your mental clarity. But that was just kind of cool. Ooh, I forgot one important thing that's interesting and relevant is bowel movements during the fast. So I had my last bowel movement on the first day of actually fasting at night. It was a great solid boop. Fucking love it. And then I didn't have a single bowel movement until what would be day 12. So the first day after I broke my fast. And that was interesting. That was it was difficult to pass. It was I don't think it was like this, like, what do they call it? Mucus plaque, black stuff that people kind of talk about. I don't really know what's up with that. It wasn't that. It was just a very hard, solid movement. And I don't know if it's an accumulation of stuff that was like drawn in or perhaps just a bit of food that didn't quite transit all the way through from back when I was eating. I'm not actually sure. But I do know it took me an hour to move it through, but it's weird because I haven't felt constipated in about a decade. So it was a weird experience, but I think it was completely fine and healthy and normal. Anyways, guys, I hope I covered everything I want to say. If not, then I'll cover it in the next video. That is why I fasted, what my experience was like, and what my results have been. Honestly, I mean, it's probably been the best thing I've ever done for my health. And I've tried a lot of different diets and things, and raw till 4 and medical medium and supplements and eating so much meat. And I don't know. To me, I like to think about the law of least effort. Like, nature intends us all to be healthy. In the right environment, every animal, species, plant has the tools to thrive and heal from whatever it's experiencing. And I think, like, what could be more simple than just laying down and allowing your body to heal? Okay, that is all my notes. I'm actually planning my next water fast right now, and I'll probably put out a video on that like tomorrow or the day after. Hope this was helpful, and wish me luck. I am continuing to heal my body because it really, at my core, I'm a strong, robust man. And I don't look it, but I'm moving towards that. So, anything else I wanted to say, Rue? All right. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.